quiet courage of a people shapes a nation, those who carry the work of becoming forward one generation at a time. Every collective story builds from individual acts of steadiness, not from grand gestures, not from decisive moments, but from the quiet, repeated choice to show up for one another in the ordinary places where life actually happens. In a long arc of 250 years, the courage that matters most lives in the places least seen. It lives in a caregiver tending to an aging parent through the long hours of the night, choosing presence when absence would be easier. It lives in a teacher offering patience to a child who has forgotten it for themselves. It lives in a neighbor who rebuilds after a storm, helping others before turning to their own home. These acts form the quiet architecture of a people. They don't make headlines. They don't appear in textbooks. And yet without them, nothing holds. Courage lives not in the exceptional moment, but in a daily choice to tend, to repair, to show up, to refuse to let go of one another. And sometimes that courage is asked to carry something heavier. Every nation carries contradiction, ideals spoken aloud and realities lived in shadow. There were communities who carried freedom's promise while living its denial, who believed in a nation that had not yet found the courage to fully believe in them. There were workers who built the nation's infrastructure while receiving its exclusions in return. There were families who sustained hope through eras when hope arrived unevenly, who passed that hope forward anyway because the promise was worth keeping, even when those in power had not yet kept it. Their endurance revealed the contradiction for what it was, and in that revelation they became the moral center of the nation's story and the truest measure of its promise. This quality of collective courage belongs to every people on earth. It speaks no single language. It belongs to no single landscape. In East Africa, a village gathers to rebuild a school after drought, each person contributing what they carry: bricks, labor, and song. In South America, a community preserves a tradition nearly lost to colonization, teaching children the dance steps that once carried an entire people's resistance. In Eastern Europe, a town opens its doors to families displaced by conflict, expanding the meaning of home beyond the borders of birth. These are ordinary people choosing courage together, and in that choosing, becoming something larger than any one of them could be alone. 250 years give a young nation the opportunity to see its collective courage clearly, to recognize those who expanded the circle of belonging when it would have been easier to keep it small, to honor those who insisted that ideals must be lived with the same force they were spoken, to remember those who rebuilt communities after loss and carried the nation's contradictions until the nation found the strength to face them. America's becoming is not finished. It's a living process shaped by the choices this generation makes now, and by the courage we choose to practice together. So where does the courage of a people actually live? It lives in the daily acts of care, of repair, of honest reckoning. It lives in the willingness to name what needs naming, and to carry hope alongside the truth, not instead of it. It lives in the recognition that each person participates in the unfolding of history through what they tend, through what they teach, and through what they refuse to abandon. Courage is not a monument. It's a practice. And every generation that practices it adds its layer to the architecture of belonging. Because the courage of a people lives in the quiet places where care is chosen, where truth is spoken, and where hope is carried forward together. Take care. Stay connected.